We should talk about Raven and Sandman had their blow-off, the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, which actually featured the debut of Kevin Sullivan.
Which I was into.
So the first show of the month, March 5th, starts with Raven cutting a promo. And once again, Liam, I've written down the Raven promo.
Here we go!
Life is a tapestry, weaved by the gods. And those who are singled out for this divine birthright, again, my Raven impression sounds much more like James Mitchell, have two choices.
You need more pauses in here. You're remembering it too well.
Oh, sorry, yes. They can fight it, or they can face it. Well, I have turned the other cheek for far too long. Lights flicker out. Oh, sorry, the light, that's stage direction.
Whoosh, lights.
Because midway through this, while he's cutting the promo, which is an important note in a second we'll come back to, the lights kind of drop, and you can see, like, the confusion on his face. He's like, what?
He's like, Sabu?
I have not been devout because pain and horror are holy things, and by believing in the darkness, we are elevated, and by elevating us, we elevate ourselves when we destroy, and when we destroy, we are cleansed. Welcome to Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun. Quote the Raven, nevermore. He does another one on the second show of the month, which is just as bad, but I didn't write down.
Next time. We can only have one Raven promo read a month.
So just as he finishes this promo, you hear somebody say, like, well, and then lights drop, show cuts out. Because the power cut in the building.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So TNA went off the air for, I think it was like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes while they were trying to get up a graphic came up. TNA will be right back. Like, Kevin Sullivan actually cut his promo during this time. Like, he didn't know the lights went out. He went through his entire promo. And
you didn't know the lights went out?
Oh, no, I guess not. Maybe the microphone still worked? I don't know. He did his promo twice.
Yeah, but the lights were out.
I hope he just screamed it at Raven. But they did, a few minutes later, get back on the air, and it's not actually in the Impact Plus version. If you go back and watch the original version, which has a few more seconds before Kevin Sullivan starts cutting his promo, Kevin Sullivan is like, all right, let's do it again, I guess.
Yeah, he's like, all right, let's do it again, I guess. I will not be a referee! I will be an observer!
So Kevin Sullivan does his entire promo for a second time because there was a power failure in the building.
Awesome. This is the stuff I'm here for.
From PW Torch, before the outage, TNA officials were under the impression that a backup power generator would kick in automatically in the event of a power outage. Even now that they know that's not the case, they do not plan to make the switch because the financial investment would be too steep.
Come on, Dixie. You're in charge now.
TNA officials believe the blackout was caused by a power surge, some video packages were destroyed, and there was also some minor production equipment damage.
Awesome.
So this is not quite building catches fire. We'll get to that in 2006.
Excuse me?
Don't worry about it. But we are here, and building loses power and show goes off the air for 5 minutes, and Kevin Sullivan has to do his promo twice.
Hell yes. Big Kevin Sullivan guy. Big fan of this.
But that does build to the main event. Raven defeated Sandman in the inaugural Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, in which Raven bled more than any human being should bleed for a match like this.
Until the next week, where he bled more.
But the problem is, he cut himself so deep here that the wound literally could not heal. Like, you know, on commentary, I think it's on during the ladder match with AJ, they are talking about how, like, Raven's cut keeps on opening because he cut himself so deep. That's a shoot. He's cut himself so deep that he cannot, in fact, heal the wound quickly enough before he wrestles again. And when he wrestles again, the wound opens again, and it just does not heal.
Jesus Christ.
Because if you look at him after this, like, he is caked in blood. It's like one of the worst blade jobs you'll ever see. And worst by, I mean, like, lots and lots of blood. Like, his hair is just red, his face, and it's literally like you threw strawberry jam in his face and covered it all over. That's how much he's bleeding. In this, like, nothing match against the Sandman as well.
Excuse me, this is the Clockhouse Orange House of Fun.
I wonder, is that it? Like, this is the debut of my signature stipulation match, so I must bleed to an extent that anybody possibly wants, but I will get over my own stipulation match if I do it.
I think he just respects the bit.
So he must bleed to an extravagant degree?
Yeah.
A note from this match, and I noticed this actually while watching, while Sandman knocks over us, the Ravens Nest sign hovers over Ravens like perch in the top of the stand.
It looks like shit.
It's a horrible sign, but I noticed he knocked it over while they were brawling in the stands. I was like, I wonder if it fall on anybody. Turns out, it did.
Awful.
A note from PW Torch, a young fan was hurt when Sandman accidentally knocked the Raven's Nest sign on top of him during last week's main event. Part of the sign fell onto the fan and left a large cut on his head. The fan and his parents were ushered backstage by security or were introduced to the wrestlers and sent home with a load of merchandise. Don't sue, don't sue, don't sue, don't sue. All the office has downplayed the severity of the situation. One wrestler who saw the kid said he was about as bloody as Raven was. Which...
I wish if the kid was a worker, he would have walked backstage, done the Raven pose, and been like, I am the sanctity of the sanctuary. Everyone follow me through the darkness, and I will lead us to the light. But I am not your messiah, no.
The Sandman took pictures with the boy and then ducked back in the corner of the locker and placed his head in his hands and cried because he was distraught because he nearly killed the kid.
Oh, poor Sandman.